I'm Ann DeVere and my fellow partner here.
Sherry Sotelo.
Yeah, we're the dynamic duo here. We are tackling the life life pivoting questions and all the inner changes that happen. And today we're talking about fear. Oh, we all experience it. How do we deal with it? And how does fear steer us in a wrong direction? And how can life or fate put us back on the right path? That's one of the things we're going to be talking about. So, Sherry, you want to take up the second one, the second topic we're going to be talking about today?
You mean our take
The,
two?
yeah, this is take two. I forgot about. So you
Yes.
want to tell them what happened, Sherry? Tell them what happened to us
Oh,
yesterday.
man. The energy was so amazing that it shut our computer or shut her computer down and we lost it midstream somewhere along the lines. We're just so amazing and charismatic that it just disrupted the system. So we started yesterday and somewhere along the lines we just kind of cut out. So we're going to do it again because, we're fabulous enough to you want to see us twice talk about this. But we were in our fear and faith and how that was working with us and against us. And so, yeah, folks, fear can set us off our path and steer us in the wrong direction because that instinct tells us, maybe we shouldn't go in a certain direction because we're scared, we don't know what's around the corner, or fear tells us, no, we don't know what's going to happen, so we're just going to wait right here because experience says maybe something is going to hurt, and that anticipation of not wanting to be hurt, even though we can't possibly know what's up there because we can't predict the future. And so we just sit back and wait and we lose opportunity. And so fear makes us do sometimes nothing or take the path of least resistance, but that's not always the right way to go. And we just lose our way, sadly, sometimes. So I'm going to go ahead and grab Anne's hand. We're going to grab that trusted partner and say,
There we
can
go.
you
Oh,
walk
yes.
me through? Just walk me through. So, Anne, walk me through. Where are we
Well,
at?
well, well, actually, we're going to walk through the fear and faith the following week when we
Mm-hmm.
dive in each one of these categories for the entire 30 minutes. So, the questions that have been brought up, how is fear standing in our way? And where do we learn? I mean, how, some things, it's our own experiences, but others we learn from others to be fearful of some things, right? Family, friends. And so we're going to be looking at some of that. And the other thing that is covered under the happy pillar, if you will, happy, we're talking about truth and unconditional love. Now, this was actually a huge one for me, um, being willing to see things for how they really are. I don't know about you, but I could talk myself into seeing things, like, and if I wanted to, I could just say sky is green, So I could make myself believe that, whether it's green or blue, it's what I think it is. And you know what? We see life in that way. What is true? How do we see ourselves? How can we honestly take a good inventory of who we are, basically? What do we think about things? How do we behave? A lot of times we don't admit that we're saying or doing something wrong, or we make excuses for them because we don't know how to deal with them. And we're in judgment of ourselves and other people. And so this one is huge because when we create a safe space for ourselves to see things as they are, or to admit the things that maybe our shortcomings, or maybe we just want to learn something a little bit better. And while we're growing, we still want to, you know, give ourselves the unconditional love. Well, how do we do that? It's easier said than done. And this is where Cherie is going to give us the step by step and the science behind it so we can trip that the inner wire that we have set for ourselves. you know so yeah, this is a big one, Cherie. So how do we deal with truth and unconditional love? What are some of the things you're going to be sharing with us the following week?
Well, we're going to get over that notion that perception is simply reality, because sometimes our perception is distorted based on what we know and also what we don't know. Going to be about how can we open up to accept that some things are actual fact, but fact doesn't have to be untruth. Maybe fact is truth, and we have to be willing to accept the things that are around us, and that we can take it without condition. We don't have to make everything condition in our life. Just like unconditional love does exist, like our unconditional worth. We are all just as worthy as we were the day we were born in all our flawless greatness. And so we are going to learn that we can be loved from day one until day, I don't know, I can't count that high.
I love
And
that.
yes, no more tethers are we going to string ourselves to and make everything with some kind of string attached. It's not going to happen anymore, folks. That's going to be such a big day next week. So, absolutely make sure you stay tuned.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it because for me, it was easier to take things, one at a time, the different emotions, and how do I respond to them? Some things, just anger alone. How do we handle anger? I mean, it's basically telling us that something wrong is being done to us according to us. Whether it's real or not, realistic or not, whether we're justified or not, it's still that emotion that comes up. And that's where it gets really murky, it's just that's just one emotion. What about 10 other emotions that we're dealing with every day? And so we're going to be looking at that. I know it was, gosh, it was a pivotal time in my life when I started knowing how to identify them individually and see how they show up in my life. How do I respond on days where I'm feeling nice and comfortable, on days where I'm stressed, just different days bring up different things, don't they? I mean, you guys, think about it, right? And so, yeah, so I'm super excited about this because it took me a while to figure it out because I was kind of bumping in the dark. I didn't know. I mean, I knew what was going on, but I didn't know the science behind it. And so Cherie's going to give us the shortcut. She's going to be able to say, this is what's happening to you internally. This is how you're feeling, and this is what, and that's going to help us a lot. And I know I'm going to be learning a lot more because our emotions never go away. The things that upset us a year ago may not be the same ones that will upset us today, but there will surely be things that upset us. And so knowing how to respond, what to do, what works for ourselves, it's huge. So I'm super excited about that. Yeah, and the other topic we're going to be tackling on being happy. So think about it. If we are not in fear, we're living in faith, and then we're courageous enough to see the truth and love ourselves unconditionally regardless of where we are. That makes us pretty happy to begin with. But then here's the biggie: step into your amazing self. Just saying it feels so good. It really does. So, Cherie, how is this? How do we see ourselves as amazing, and how do we step into it? I want to live there, but I don't know how to do that.
You just get out there and do it. This is the acceptance of who you are. This is the acknowledging where you're at. This is the seeing yourself for all your goods and bads and indifference. And this is presenting all that you are without the conditions, without the strings attached, knowing that no matter what it is, it's okay to be okay. It's okay to not be okay. That you're going to come and you're going to learn, and you've learned how to also have that great pivot moment in life several times over, because that's what we need. Because we learn along the way, and hold yourself accountable with grace for the things that we don't know, because we don't know what we don't know. And you head out that direction, not that way back there, because there's nothing back there for you. We're continue to move forward. It's amazing. We're stepping into that amazing place with our amazing self, and it feels wonderful. So, all your favorite word, all that dopamine release that comes with it in anticipation. So, that's how we do it.
There goes my favorite
I,
word. I want to do some dopamine stacking. And you know what I love about this when we were preparing the content for next week, um, what you said about accepting our fabulousness. Just saying it makes me feel good because we all have fabulousness in us. We are all fabulous. We're not all perfect, but we are all fabulous because there's some amazing aspects to us that once we acknowledge them, once we decide to shine a light on them, if you will, and once we're willing to share those things with our friends, family, community, um, some it just internally it just feels so wonderful. It's really empowering, and so, living in that state is what I'm always striving for. And this is why, yeah, and you know what? Actually, before, let's go to how do we accept our fabulousness? What does that mean to you, a fabulousness?
what does it mean to me?
Yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
you're always fabulous, I think.
I think
So
we're all
yeah.
always fabulous. Even when we're at our not so great, we're still fabulous, because it encompasses everything about us, all of our experiences, how we come out, even from our lows, makes us that great. It provides that role modeling of strength, even to others. We prove to ourselves, because we don't have to prove anything to anyone else. It gives us that insight of all the things that we can overcome, and that makes us fabulous. All the things that we learn every single day about ourselves, about other things, that makes us fabulous. The getting from point A to point B, that makes us fabulous. Doing the little self care pieces, making sure that we get up and eat well, maybe even for only one meal that day. That makes us fabulous. Caring for another person, or smiling at someone who looks down that day, that makes us fabulous. So there's so many things that can make us fabulous every single day. It takes one little act of kindness. That's it,
Hmm.
according to me. I but I don't know. Can you adopt even one little thing that's brand new? Because that makes you fabulous.
Yeah, I love that because as you were, sharing each one, giving me examples, I'm like, fabulousness a la carte menu. I will take that one and that one and that one today. Tomorrow I will choose that one and that one and that one. Or let me see what I feel like having today. What kind of mood am I in? What's going to make me feel fabulous today? And I love that Sometimes it's self-care, other times it's caring for others, depending on what we need for ourselves. And I say need because it took me a while to actually pay attention to my needs because I was so focused on taking care of my loved ones, my friends, family, especially my immediate family, my daughter, my husband, right? And so I would put myself last. And then it took me a while to discover, even though I had heard put them, oxygen mask on you first, when you, yeah, how many times have we heard that? Like millions, right? Especially I've been on, I don't even know, thousands of flights. I always hear it. But somehow it's just like, you just, oh, okay, it just kind of flies by. But we do need to put the oxygen mask on ourselves first, because if we're out there laying there unconscious, we can't help anybody, right? So, yeah, but there you go. And I would love for us to kind of tap into next week when we're sharing the discerning process. How do we choose, which fabulous act do we want to take for ourselves, and how do we discern what we can do for others? Do you think that that impacts our how we feel about ourselves, stepping into our amazing self?
Absolutely. Because sometimes we struggle to find the good mood, the
Mm,
good emotion, but our emotions are the passenger. Like I said before in previous episodes, we're the vehicle for things. Our body is a big mechanical system. Our words are the driver. And so sometimes we have to give ourselves that pep talk of, okay, I did this. I really did. I smiled. I helped. I completed this task. Well, that's who's driving this vehicle. Oh, hoo-hoo, peekaboo. Um, and that emotion is going to follow wherever our words go. And so, even if we didn't feel great in that moment, and then we realize, oh, I did this good thing, you know what? That does feel good.
mm,
Little chemicals start to release. And we're like, oh, blinker just went on, turn signal, yay. Okay, this is my positive. But if I'm going to take the words of, well, I didn't do anything today, or I didn't get anything done, it's like, no, you actually got a whole lot done because there was still stuff that you did. You ate. Did you eat? Did you get out of bed? Did you go back to? Okay, you did something. Your
mm.
words determine so much of where your emotions can go. So pick and choose very carefully how you speak to yourself, because how you speak is how you live. How you speak is how you feel. So take the wins, even if they're itty bitty bitty ones. Remember, ants can carry exponentially their weight.
Yeah,
We can do the same thing. So, yes, it matters and it
yeah.
does make a difference. So,
Well,
your
actually,
emotions are the passenger. Remember that. They don't run you.
the passenger. I have to remember. Actually, I had to do something yesterday because of our what do we call that?
Our technical non cooperation.
Oh, technical not cooperate. I like that. I like
Mhm.
that. Well, it was really because of my computer. It was not cooperating with some of the software that I was using. So I for the past since yesterday afternoon until like an hour ago, basically, I've been tackling technology, and it's not my favorite thing to do. But you know what? I pat myself on the back because I got a lot accomplished. Yes, the laptop has to go back because I have to buy another one, but at least I know what I want. I did it. I did it. I asked questions, and I got the right answers. I knew how to do research on it. I compared things. And so these are things, yeah, these are things I actually had other people do for me before. So, while I'm really good at some things not so much. And so the learning opportunity was there for me. And Yeah, so that's a perfect example of me, kind of stepping up and taking care. Yeah.
saying I can
Yes, I can.
because
Yeah,
I did.
because I did, therefore I can.
Mhm.
Okay, so here we go. And yeah, yeah, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. I'm actually excited to dive into all that we're going to do. But by the way, folks, I'm learning right along with you. What makes this special, the combination of Cherie and I, is that um I have years of experience of changing and growing and making all these different decisions. And I mean, I went from a very troubled life to a fabulous life. Well, how did it happen? I had to change my mindset. I had to change how I see things. I had to change how I act. I had to change how I learn a bunch of things. But I never really understood the science behind it. And so that's what I'm super excited about, because I'll be sharing examples of how I've done things, and the people I've worked with, because I've mentored many over the years and they've gotten great results. But now we can put a name to the science behind it, and that's where our brilliant Sherry is going to share with us. And yeah, actually, I'd like to hear more about how you're putting all this information together, because I presented you with a challenge. I was like, here's what I've done. Here are the things that I had to learn, basically following in loosely, the the 12-step programs, if you will. But these are common sense things that people can do and do every day. It's just the way I did it. And so, what was it about doing this? I'm just taking up a little extra time because we have a few extra minutes today. So, and I thought we would just give a backstory to people about this. So, what was it about the challenge I presented you? And I said, here's what I've done, but I don't know how I've done it and why it worked. So, can you tell me? So, what was that for you? It's like, oh, I have to pull this information. What was going through your mind?
You, I had to pull what information?
Well, the way I was presenting, as far as like what I wanted to share about happy, joyful, and free, and the as far as the different ways of looking at things and changing things, what I had done. But I had said to you, I don't know the science behind it, why it works. The brain and all that. The actual technical terminology of things that are happening to us, within us, when we're learning something new, looking at things from a different perspective. And so, I mean, you were just like, yes, let's do it now. And I don't think I ever asked you, what was it about this whole prospect of doing happy, joyful, and free, that you decided to be my scientist co-host?
Oh, I spent 17 years in college and grad school learning about the brain and learning about behavior and learning so much, doing 7 different degrees and 28 certifications and getting 6 licenses and serving as two state commissions for the state of Nevada. And I did all of that because I do come from I was the I I wasn't a troubled teen, but I grew up on the streets, a very rough life in San Francisco with a severely alcoholic mother and her entire drug addict family, and so a hard knock life. So I learned everything that I could, and I used education as my way of understanding my family dynamic and understanding the cultural components and understanding the whys of the whys and the hows of the hows, and to know even myself of why I got into habitual patterns myself all throughout my young years and my early 20s. And then also understanding as a woman in San Francisco and working in corporate America and not being taken seriously because I was a woman in corporate America and I look the way that I look. So I had to leverage a lot of things, including my brain. And then I'm smart. So I was like, well, let me get more information and more information. So when you presented the 12 components that you put together, I'm like, well, I learned about why all of these things actually do work from a neuropsychological perspective. I love all my little geeky stuff. I know actually why these things work. I can tell you even how the brain fires. I read medical imaging for fun. I I actually just finished telling you this morning. I spend 2 hours every morning and 2 hours every evening reading empirical documents. I read research. I also read economic publishing. I read right down to technology stuff. I read finance. I read economics. I read global impact, where things sit at the UN. And I've done this for the last 25 years every single day. Why? Because I'm just that research geek, because I want to speak to fact. So when I saw it, I'm like, ooh, topics. I'd love to explain the science to you because that's what I do. I speak to fact all the time because it's
Yeah.
important that people speak from a factual place. And if it clarifies for not just you, but for worldwide, please let's do it so that people understand why they do what they do, so that if they want to change it, they can. They can understand that, oh, there's something actually back there to do it. Cool. Because we're also going to get into the how can I change these things?
Yeah. Love it. See, well, thank you for sharing all that. And the part where a couple of things that jumped out. One is we are both speaking from a factual place. Me from my experience of actually doing it and getting results. And you are coming from a place of the education and actually doing it and getting results. But then you do have that education, to add on to it and your ongoing research, which I also do research. But the different topics, mind you, because the things that excite you might be a little bit different than the ones that excite me, but it's a melting pot. They come together. So that's really exciting for me. But also the other thing that I wanted to kind of food for thought for some of the people that are watching, maybe they can relate. Um, you were inspired to learn how things are and why they are that particular way. Why do people act or do the way they often do, and because you were inspired by your family. And so our life experiences are just this fuel for us, looking for things, finding things, for changing things. So if you're watching this and if this is resonating with you, start thinking, what is it that gets you excited? And what are some of your life experiences that are, kind of adding fuel to the fire, because we want to harness that energy. We want to harness it. We want to go with it and just, learn what we can do and how we can use it to better ourselves, because I also was inspired at my own experience. I was a troubled teen, so between the two of us, but it doesn't make a difference which life experiences are, you know, kind of egging us on and getting us excited, or just maybe they're causing us so much pain that we have to do something to change it, whether it's pain or pleasure. As long as you want to change it, this is the place to be. And so between the two of us, we're going to be sharing a lot of yummy stuff for sure, right? And we have lots of fun. And you know what I didn't see today? No props. No props. Oh, that's right. I am sorry. I am sorry. I stand corrected. Yeah. So Cherie is our prop queen. And so I never know what's going to come up. So you may want to join us just to see what she comes up with, because she can be pretty extreme from one to the other. And so that's part of the fun here too. Life is fun. Life is fun, and learning is fun, changing is fun, growing is fun. It could be growing pains, but you know what? When we know what we're growing for, and what we are growing to, what we're growing into, it can actually be fun. We can make it fun, right? Okay, so with that, we're at that 30-minute mark, and we did it. Look at all this. Look at all this
Yeah.
extra time that we had. And so tomorrow we're going to be sharing the joyful. What is it going to take to be joyful? So the three different components we're going to be sharing. You want to know what they are? Join us. And so you will know what's coming up for you throughout the month, because you're going to be able to take where you are right now and intentionally identify the things you want to change. And then you're going to have the tools to change it with. How cool is that? Come on. There you go. See, we got a happy happy Cherie, dancing Cherie. There we go. Okay. So you want to take us out, Cherie?
I'm not going to take you out. That's not very happy.
See what I mean? See what I mean?
We're cutting it, folks. We're out of here. We have given everything to be happy about. I can't wait to see everyone again tomorrow. Today has been about fear and faith and truth and our unconditional love for you and ourselves. And we got to go, folks, because we're going to go step into our amazing selves. We will see you tomorrow. It's been fun, but we got to go. Mwah.
Yes.